This is your simply the best station, Star 103.5 FM, and EIB remains your 2024 election hub. It's now time to take you on the campaign trail. It's now some 7 minutes to the hour 6, and tonight on the campaign trail, my guest is a former deputy Nasara coordinator of the New Patriotic Party in the Northern Region, Hajia Salifu Rabi, who has served the party in so many different capacities, and now coming in as Deputy Communications Director going into the 2024 elections. You would certainly be interested in this conversation happening in the next few minutes. She is also currently a member of the National Zango campaign team. My guest, Hajia Salifu Rabi, has already taken her seat in the studios. Remember that we are live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM. And you can also send us a WhatsApp message with your questions on 055 288 0216. Again, 055 288 0216. This is your campaign trail. Hajia, welcome to the studios.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. I also serve as one of the national Zango campaign team members. And then I wish to say good evening to all Zango campaign team members. We are really, really with our people, and it's so much fun working with them. We are always with them, and it's lovely going back home to say Munzo Muimuko Magana Siasa.
What does that mean?
Everything is like we have come, we are home, and we are discussing politics. And it's indeed very, very nice for us on the ground.
I see. Were you with Baumia when he was filing his nomination forms today?
That is the more reason why I'm in Greater Accra today. Because I had to step out and say, look, I need to go and support the man of vision. And I need to really work closely behind him to give him that solidarity. Since I'm not a parliamentary candidate somewhere, I was available to support.
How did that go?
Very well, Vanessa. But even before we go there, I was in studio here and I did listen to my big brother Amalebu.
I was actually going to that.
You would do that. Okay, so let's do the opening.
So he says that Ekufado's claims that there's a deliberate attempt by the NDC to label him as corrupt is not true, because there are facts to prove that he's indeed corrupt.
Yes. And I liked where he landed. He said when Akufado is investigated and being proven guilty, and that is it. He who alleges must prove, isn't it?
Okay.
We do have the records of proving. The most recent one is the Sedina Temoklo one. 90 million cedis. A whole lot to the state. She's a woman. It's sad to talk about her like that. But that is what was investigated, dug in for several months, several years, and finally gotten to be established that she stole. And this is what I am saying.
Okay.
Others might call other names. Yes, go and dig. Go and establish it and come back to it. I would always repeat, if you had done smartest bus branding for 3.6 million Ghana cedis, you have no case talking about corruption. If you had done 32 million of JIDA deal, you have no case talking about corruption. If you had done Woyomi, 51.2 million, you shouldn't come telling us you have issues discussing corruption.
So these are
if you had done a Mary Power deal, 600 million of these 10 power turbines with 230 to 250 megawatt. This was at 220 million. But for our government, we came to do only 600 million on this deal. If you have issues of SADA, 32 million, thinking about planting of trees with 7,000 trees, using 15 million to just do 7,000 TVs. And we in 2022 using only 32 million to do 5 million TVs. This is what we are talking about. So for me, Vanessa, if they come to talk about corruption, trying to tag President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I love where he landed. It is always good to prove and show the records. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will tell you, we are in the space of digitalization. We are in the space of fact check, and we are in the space of record keeping and record exhibition. If you find anybody corrupt, try and prove it, and let's get going. What we are certain about is that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is not corrupt. If he did mention that Martin Amidu said President Nana Addo was the mother of the
Mother serpent
of corruption, of course, emotions could get people to say anything. And he is subject to his own explanation. But what we know is that until he is proven guilty, nobody can tag him. At least his name has never been dragged into any government official, one brouhaha.
Okay.
At least he hasn't been able to be tagged as this is the deal he's involved in. And to sum it all, His Excellency, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, is not corrupt. And that is so refreshing for us to go on campaign trail.
That's very interesting. But you mentioned a number of things you said the NDC had undertaken, which suggests that they are corrupt. Why didn't you prosecute them?
You have been following, and you are a journalist, Vanessa, and I know you have answers to the questions we are talking about. And that is what President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will always tell you. We wouldn't rush or prejudice what is in court. We wouldn't come to give you immature justice. We would follow due process and bring you all the findings like Sedna Tamaklo's own just came.
Right. Are we not certain to see the real length of the frog after its death?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I would just say let's always go with the due process. If it is about the process of law and order, he's a human rights activist. He would always tell you, let's go with the court. And I love his approach of saying, if the lawyer to citizen ratio is low, let's get the law reforms in place. Let's get people more in our law
agree.
schools.
You agree when he says that 20 justices should be appointed to the Supreme Court.
20 more years, because if the judge to citizen ratio is so low, we need that balance, and we need to get going as a productive country. Anything development,
we will talk about that, but let's still stay within the quarters of the NDC. And the party is insisting that they want an independent forensic audit conducted into the register. Exactly.
Yes.
Do you support that as a party?
Well, that is what they are. They're just blowing hot air. When we found out what was happening with their register in 2015, did they agree with our grievances? Did they listen to us?
But it doesn't
equity must come with clean hands.
It doesn't invalidate their concerns, does it?
It does. We are always patriotic, and we are almost always democratic. We would never run away from whatever interrogation.
But as the NPP also supports a forensic audit.
If we find it necessary, we do. But if we don't, it is time for campaign. It is heated. People are waiting for us to come and elaborate more on our policies and everything. When we call them for debate, which is equally useful to the citizenry, didn't they run away? They know we have taken the fight to them, and they know we are doing well on the campaign train, and they are now running away from all that we are doing. They're just bringing all these audits and other things to distract us. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will tell you,
EC,
that he is focused.
The EC did admit that there were some anomalies in the register. Doesn't that validate their concerns?
Were recently struggling to even define what their voter album was. They were struggling to define it as either a voter list or delegate list or delegate register or whatever. So if the EC is having such challenge, we have to just encourage them to be more and more on top of their game and do the right thing for us, so that we don't get people to get opportunity of wasting people's time in this country. Because we are in for business. Bawumia is for business, and we are with him in the game.
I'll ask you one last question before we delve into your campaign proper. You also heard Frank Anodompe when he said that the NDC has caused a lot more harm under his administration when it comes to the fight against galamsey menace as compared to the NPP. Some have described his comments as really infantile and unintelligent. What does the NPP say to that?
The most recent one is, or the easiest way to fetch, the one to fetch here, is the one we saw with leadership of NDC on campaign grounds, telling them, go and vote for us to let you continue with galamsey. We are not hypocrites. We will get excavators of national executives, including our own mother, Mama Kate Jamfua, getting her excavators bent. We have gotten our regional chairman of the Ashanti region being called out. We have seen the issue of the, what's his name? Charles BCW and all these people. We wouldn't pretend, come to you in this studio to say we won't agree, but rather go back in the dark to tell them, vote for us, we have given you amnesty. We have listened to John Mahama, his Excellency, former president, say this over and over. Amnesty.
Okay.
If you
Granted,
are saying go,
Hajia,
you would give me
kindly hold on
amnesty
for
because
me.
of a vote.
I mean,
Why would
I just want
not
to
go and
understand
do it?
if you also agree that those comments were needless. Do you agree?
Whose comments?
Frank Anodon Press comments.
Why needless? When he
Doesn't it suggest that we are politicizing the fight against Galamsey?
It's needful because we have always told them, let's have a national discourse. We are all not happy with what is happening with Galamsey. We are all in for the land reclamation approach that is being done by the land ministry. We are all for the community mining scale, or how do they call it? The community mining. What do they call it? What's the adjective they give it? The whole community mining approach. You know, they are now grouping communities to go into group mining. So the community mining approach or model, yes, this is the word I was trying to get you. The community mining model is what they are looking for and what we are giving them. It is telling you that conscientization of these people, having a dialogue with them, agreeing that the water bodies are not really what we hope to see in this country, is what we should be looking at and not politicizing it. It's not time to politicize these issues. You go back to tell them they should vote for you, you would grant them amnesty. You go back to say they should vote for you, you would come and do what of you, simply because you want votes. But is it what we want for this country? No. We want reality. Sometimes we need to just take off the political lens and say, look, we are Ghanaians. We should get the water bodies clear. We should do the right thing. We should get the land reclamation, which is so dear to my heart. We should put the people in groups and get them to mine responsibly. Recently, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was talking about how he's going to digitalize these mining processes, having an exploration done, we knowing what is deposited at what corner, so that before even an investor comes in, he's able to tell, okay, in Opon Mansu, this is the deposit of iron, this is the deposit of gold, this is the deposit of this. And then we can move on as a country. This is what we are looking for. And digitalization, as he will always tell you, is the way to go. Yeah.
Let's delve into what happened today. So your flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, filed his nomination to contest on the tickets of the NPP. Do you think Ghanaians take him seriously, considering the fact that he has earned this tag, Baulaya?
I said it on Metro TV, your sister station, that any deliberate effort to tag people will only expose you. And if you were following political process, you would gladly agree that any candidate who resolves into lying is losing the election. When you've got substance to produce, when you've got good things to say, when you've got results to show to Ghanaians, when you've got good records to show, you would never insult anybody. You would use that time judiciously to talk about what you have done. That is why when you call me, I will never use a minute of my time to talk ill of any candidate. Because my candidate has a lot of attributes that I need several hours to sit here and deliberate on. So that one, let's leave them with it. They are on it. Theirs is a campaign of insults. Ours is one of facts and figures. And we are open for fact check.
And when Bawumia says that the NPP has fulfilled about 80% of its campaign manifesto promise, that is the 2021, is he being truthful?
Very truthful. You can do the audit yourself. We do have the manifesto in place. This is the 2024 one, of course. You go to cross-check, ask us all the questions. And I'm always glad to even mention the Zongo one. Zongo, he spoke about everything. And if we had said we'll do Arabic instructor model recruitment, if we had said we'll recruit 40 boys and girls to Cuba, if we had said we'll supply schools with dual decks, if we had said we'll build toilets in various Zongos, if we had said we will give them water system, and we have been able to do all this with just one outstanding, which is the 16 model schools, it should tell you that if you are scoring us 9/10, it tells you that one would have been held by some challenges, which certainly will be resolved, and we'll get that done for our people.
I have engaged a number of people who say that your 2020 manifesto sort of gave them hope, reason for which they voted for the party, listening to policies like one village, one dam, one constituency, one factory. Where are the dams, first of all?
Vanessa, I'm from northern Ghana. The dams are there. Yes, we had people going with cameras to go and capture dried up spaces. That should tell you that already, when you look at climate change issues, the biggest headache of every northern person or northern Ghanaian farmer would tell you that we don't have an all year round rainfall pattern. So it will tell you, yes, if you had gone to a site to just spot that this particular place is being faced by drought at a given time, then you video it and broadcast. That is your own cup of tea. You should be proud enough to as well go back and see when the water is well collected in these same dams. Now the conversation on 1D, one village, one dam. I think, yes, it's not an all correct affair, or it is not 100% score affair.
Okay.
But what I am saying is that even the conception of the idea to say let's get these dams done, it should be a discourse of, say, NPP. Yes, you have gone to dig the dams. How do we get them sustainable? How do we get to expand these dams to make them irrigable, to be able to use them as irrigation dams, to be able to get our farmers around this, collect their water, and get their farm processes ongoing properly? Then we will say we have a very serious opposition engaging us with discourse. But if you have an opposition who will come just on the 12th of March this year to tell you that free SHS, the 1D Agenda 111 is not feasible, and just run to you back sometime July to tell you vote for me, I'll complete Agenda 111, then we don't have an opposition after all. Or you want an opposition that will come and tell you, I'm coming to construct 24-hour nightclub, where instead of us talking about this, we are interested in being in the nightclub. Okay. Is that what we want?
I don't want us to even talk about the opposition. I want us to talk about the NPP properly.
I'm just here, but it's fair to do some comparisons. Okay. I am just saying, because they would go and deliberately spot the cameras where they shouldn't be or where they should ideally be. But it's always good to also draw them gently to the truth, to the reminder that if you were able to do this, why not go back to do this? That is just the analogy I'm painting.
I understand, but I'm not even asking this based on what maybe an NDC person have said or posted on social media. I understand you, Hajia.
To even answers. There are questions that would necessarily not come in your studios, but are also demanding answers.
Absolutely.
So when we get opportunity like this, you try to answer all those questions and address all concerns across.
I am asking because about last month, there was the issue of dry spell in some parts of northern Ghana.
Which is sad,
Very sad.
Yes.
And I believe that these people voted because they thought the NPP had the idea to irrigate their farms, given the fact that you know how the weather conditions are up north.
Vanessa, you just said it. This is a natural cause. Nobody can politicize.
But what didn't the party try to be proactive?
Drought is drought. I just told you the conversation should have been how to make these dams irrigation dams.
Exactly.
That is taking it to the next level.
If the conversation should have been this,
not to criticize it, not to say it's dead on arrival. At least my expectation is for them to even accept the truth. Okay, why are they? Like I will always say, if you had promised us 200-day schools and have come to give us 29 or 45, I will always give you the credit of 29 or 45. We've not even settled that issue yet. But I will come and give you the credit of what you have done. And then I will now come and tell you that free SHS is the way to go. So if you criticize, you produce an alternative. You don't just sit, criticize, insult, and go away. So what? So what next? So we will tell you, yes, we do score ourselves. We do take all the critics. And that takes us back to sometime last year when everywhere was hot, when people were predicting doom for this country, when everybody, even myself coming to the studio, wasn't sure about the next moment, what could happen to our economy. We said, okay, bring all the critics. We will keep you posted on what we are doing.
Okay.
We went back to the drawing board. We looked at debt restructuring. We looked at how we were going to mobilize revenue in-house in this country. Yes, some would say tax invigilation, people were being harassed and all that, but after all, one would have also said that there was an attempt of an alternative or a solution being provided, and that is where we are today. Talk about that. You mentioned gold for oil. You talk about the oil, purchase policy. And all this, it tells you that this is the leadership we are looking for.
Okay.
And then look, I have many.
I will definitely give you the opportunity to tout your party's achievements. But let's look at a policy like the Planting for Food and Jobs. I have spoken to agricultural experts who say that policy has been a massive failure. Do you agree?
I disagree.
On what basis?
On the basis that, look, Vanessa, I want to fetch you some figures here as
Because
well.
you recall that the Minister for Agriculture himself is instituting a ban on the exportation of grains because he believes that we don't even have enough to provide for the country.
So let me tell you, for the past years, from
Okay.
2017 to 2020, and even progressing to sometime 2022, Ghana, our own country, moved from an average growth rate of 2.7% under NDC
Okay.
to 5.8% under NPP. This tells you that as of 2020, 1.4 million metric tons of fertilizer was given out to farmers. And even as we speak, just recently, my constituency at the electoral area, I had a call from an old man in Yabasan. We call him in Yabasan. He was telling me that, look, Rabi, but for the fertilizer government has supported me with over the years, and even just last week, trust me, my farming wouldn't have been something to be written about. We gave out about 91,000 seedlings to farmers. You know what that means to a farmer in my place? It tells you that his production rate or the scale of production will by all means be increased. Beneficiaries of farmers under the Planting for Food and Jobs moved from 207,000 under the NDC to 1.7 million under our party or in this particular government. So it is just telling you that, oh, look, the number of the warehouses, we have the storage facilities we have sprung out in this country, the interventions we have given to these farmers, it simply tells you that that is the reason why when Dr. Mahmoud Baumia goes to Bumpurugu, when Dr. Mahmoud Baumia goes to Wuliai, when Dr. Mahmoud Baumia goes to Bimbla, when Dr. Mahmoud Baumia goes to Sanargu, these are the reasons why the people pour on the streets. Because they know that it's not time for them to just accept 20 CD or 50 CDs like the NDC will always go and do for them. They will look at the DCE that was facilitating the Planting for Food and Job. They will look at the DCE that was facilitating the LEAP program they are benefiting from. They are looking at the DCE and the Ghana Education Service and the teachers that are key players in the free SHS. They are looking at the Agenda 111 hospital, and they are looking at the travel time they would have gone on a tricycle with a pregnant woman losing her baby. Today now comfortably lying in an ambulance from Bumpurugu Yonyo to the central to get her rescued. These are the factors that is making the people pour out to tell Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that, look, we are for you and you are for us.
Okay.
You have started.
Granted.
You probably haven't gotten to the end, but we have so much hope
Granted.
in you.
But despite all of these interventions that you say the government has made to save our agricultural or food baskets, we continuously see a rise in our food inflation. Is that not indicative of the fact that the policy hasn't been as successful as she wants us to believe it has been?
That can actually be very, very conversational.
Okay.
Because when you look at even pricing system that we are enjoying in this country, you and I will agree that nobody regulates pricing.
Okay.
Who does that in this country? It's by our system, isn't it? You get people capitalizing on situations. When people were carrying tubers of yam into studios, I bought 6 tubers of yam for less than 100 cedis on the way back to Accra. So
where exactly?
Between Buzunu, coming when you are on the Kintampo stretch.
Okay.
If you want some, I can buy some and bring to you. But what I am saying is that if they will carry that tuber of yam and now also carry that sack of yam, it doesn't bring us to a healthy conversation. What we are looking for is the beneficiaries are there.
Okay.
If Party A had done half, I should admit that yes, NPP has been able to do Agenda 111. We failed by saying it's not feasible, but we are coming back to agree that Rabi was in Pusiga and she did a live video, TikTok, to tell us she is standing in front of the facility. The chiefs are talking, the women are talking, the drones are delivering, the fertilizer is going, the free SHS beneficiaries are back to school. Look at gender parity. In Zangos, before 2017, the astrotypes in Ghana were just 3. My sister, 3. 1, 2, 3. Today, it's over 100.
Right.
And Zangos alone have taken more than 50. You know, what I'm telling you is that, Vanessa, let's look at the so what's behind the intervention. Football. anybody that is associated with
I
Zango
just want us to
will tell
focus
you the
on
Zangos do produce
on
fantastic
agriculture for
players.
now, because
Agric, I'm not running away from Agric.
farmers have dominated the
I thought we were
headlines.
even talking about EC today.
We will definitely talk
Okay,
about that.
all right.
I mean, since you are here, like you said, if you have the opportunity,
Okay.
you like to talk about questions that have been asked even elsewhere. So I like
Yes.
to do same.
Yeah, sure, no, it's fine.
This dry spell, for instance, the minister says that he had made a provision of 1 million Ghana cedis insurance premium for the farmers. Who are your insurers?
Well, the insurance or the insurers would be clearly stated by the ministry, because they probably would not be dealing with just one source or one company.
Okay.
Currently, I am not privy to all of them.
Okay.
And I wouldn't want to contradict myself by supplying you insurer A
That you
or
are not
insurer
sure
B,
of.
then tomorrow I'll come here trying to struggle to declare or to clarify or what have you.
Okay.
But what I am telling you, or what is very significant for us to note, it's about the approach,
Okay.
the intervention, the attempt to come with it is only also commendable. It is something that, look, even if you disagree with MPP CRA, just sit and say, okay, where do you be?
Okay.
That's just
Hajia,
what I am talking about.
why is Ghana still paying for COVID levy when COVID doesn't exist in this country?
The impact of COVID is continuous. I want to wake up to a day, just like Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, where we will not pay these COVID levies. But until then, we are pleading with Ghanaians that gradually we'll get it off. But to also remind you that the impact is not just a one-day off thing. If the impact is there, the mitigation should also continue.
Okay.
It is sad that we are going through it, but I am so optimistic that, look, we will get off the hook and we all will be fine as a
But
country.
you are promising to scrap that levy off. That you're promising to scrap the COVID levy, the emissions levy, the e-levy.
That's what I just said.
Why are we paying for all of these now?
I'm just telling you the impact is transitional. The impact is continuous. And when it is time to get it off the hook, it will certainly go.
But
That's what I'm telling
if you say it is transitional, it gives me a sense of uncertainty. So why then do we have to listen to Baumia and take his word for it when he says that if you vote for me, I'm going to scrap all of these taxes off?
Yes, like he would tell you, the reasons why we have to still soak such pressure currently haven't gone.
Okay.
They haven't left us. That's why I'm saying the
But
impact is continuous.
Do,
It is
do,
with
do,
us.
do you think they'll leave us when we vote for him? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that, look, decisions are being taken and you have limits to who takes decision. Vanessa, as you speak behind this console, there are some decisions you look at and say, okay, probably my boss hasn't really looked at that.
Okay.
So if he has better ways or other ways of mitigating those harsh conditions or policies or decisions, yes, let's wait and see how he can do it. And he has provided us with that. Remember that new came what? New laws. It's about the approach to reaching to the solution and not just the ultimate solution.
Okay.
And he told us he is only the driver. And Mahama, former president, is the best person to tell you the position of a vice president in this country, besides what our constitution says. Being limited to some limited activities or stepping in for the president when some things are done. At least that's what we have to even applaud Baumia for it, because he has been a very visible vice president. He has been very instrumental in this country, and he is even being held responsible for certain policies in this country. Was Mahama able to do that? No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talking about taxes, the NPP is promising to scrap off the betting tax. That's what it's promising to do. And you're also promising to create jobs. Help me understand, how do we juxtapose these two?
Creation of job has nothing to do with betting tax.
Don't you think that if people were employed, there won't be the need to be involved in
It's not
betting?
all unemployed people that are betting.
But majority of them are.
I don't have that figures. If you have done any research, you can share with me. But I don't have any figures supporting that majority of unemployed people are betting. I don't have any figures support. Do you have?
I don't have any
So
official.
fantastic. We can't conclude on that, and we can't read to that assumption, because when you speak vague, when you give speculative statements, they come back to harass you. And I always try not to do that in my
Right.
communication. I don't say things I'm not sure about. What I know is that we have supplied Ghanaians. That is why when our manifesto came, it got intellectuals really thinking in this country. It got people in this country who are discerning as we have always known them, to probe more, to ask questions. And that is why majority of people, and I would say majority on a cursory look, are very comfortable with our manifesto.
Okay.
We saw somebody launch a manifesto in this country, and the next 2 hours we never heard anything about it. All we could hear was pork and who is praying and who doesn't pray and what have you. Is that what your policies are reduced to, sweetheart? No. I'm happy to come and open here on a different day. Then we take all the 14 thematic areas, one after the other. Then I will tell you my level of appreciation of these thematic areas. And if I have facts and figures to support that, to tell you this is the reason why I think these 14 thematic areas are achievable, then we can have such conversation.
Okay.
But until then, I know we have given ways of creating more employment. Over 2.1 million quite recently, as we all see, has gone already. People are glad today.
You said that you created 2.3 million jobs in 2017.
When you go on the streets, you see our police service. They are always getting me more and more excited with. When I see them, you see them in good uniforms. You see them in very healthy looking motorbikes.
Is the government sponsoring their uniforms?
Hey, sweetheart, when you talk about uplifting the face of Ghana Police Service, even the decisions that go into what they eat, it's all inclusive. We have seen the bungalows provided for these people to give them emotional well-being, their welfare. We have seen the number of motorbikes, over 1,500, the last time I checked, has been supplied to these people. We have seen some of them now, like the American police, having cameras mounted on their uniform. We have seen people now extremely careful when they are jumping traffic, because there is a system in place checking you. This is governance. This is what we are looking for. And we have seen the number of beneficiaries that are also calling to say, look, I have gotten immigration. Some haven't gotten. That is true. Look, trust me, even 2000 to come, we will still have some people in this country who will be looking for employment. You know why? Because people will keep graduating and graduating and graduating.
Okay.
That's why I'm so excited about the Ghana Report Summit, their job fair they want to do at the Independence Square. It's coming in a few days.
Okay.
And I'm so excited.
Okay.
They want to bring players. They have gone to outsource some jobs, about 5,000 of that. And they are happy to share that with people.
Okay.
You come, you get interviewed, they get your qualifications, and they facilitate the job acquisition
No problem.
process.
Let's talk about education now. I mean, you instituted a very beautiful free SHS policy, but
Yeah.
the president today is advising that individuals who believe the quality does not meet their standards should take their awards to the private schools.
You know why?
Is that a fair comment to make? I mean, because you know that
yes.
people have been calling for a review of the policy.
So you know, Vanessa, when we speak as beneficiaries, it makes it more beautiful, in the sense that we saw at a point in this country where middle-aged people, where middle-income people, where people who are elite wouldn't just take their awards to government school, not just even basic, including second cycle, isn't it? Now you have people very comfortable having their awards into government schools. You know why? Because the STEM approach to learning, TVET has been improved. The facilities, although we are not there yet 100%, has been far, far improved. We have seen the sense of shelter and security these students are enjoying.
So you argue that the policy offers quality education.
What I am dragging to you is that, look, or what I'm driving at home here is the fact that for some of the private schools, I don't want to generalize, for some of them, we know the level of extortion that goes on there. We know the level of enjoyment of monopoly that goes with them. And when you talk about the enjoyment of monopoly here, the person would have sat back and said, okay, look, the government schools are not given, so they by all means will bring their awards to the private. And we know the kind of threat, intimidation, and even sometimes, I don't want to call that bully, but the pressure parents would have to soak to quickly go and pay school fees because Meba or private school. But today, we have government schools that are giving same value. We have government schools that you get your awards in, and you don't even get shy to tell Vanessa that my girl is in that government school. because there is improvement.
Okay, but there are some concerns that this free SHS policy has sort of increased in discipline in our senior high schools. Do you agree? And I think that the recent case study was what happened in O'Reilly Senior High School.
Vanessa, it's just time and moment for me. I would tell you that, look, for me, giving somebody access to education has nothing to do with their culture or discipline or attitude.
Okay.
We have provided access to these people who wouldn't have gotten school.
Okay.
When you look at our moral fiber in this country, I'm from a village. I will tell you some years back in our communities, parents could shout at a child saying, I'll whip you if you don't stop that. The parents will come and support the parents to discipline the child or correct the child. Today, go and attempt removing a child from danger. The same parent will come and tell you, you didn't give birth to my child. So even in our communities, being each other's keeper has gone. Not all, but we've lost majority of that.
Okay.
Or chunk of that.
Okay.
And I am telling you, as much as people are just looking at it on the surface and trying to align that to their end discipline, it also tells you there are some schools where others would have said, if my child hadn't gotten to schools like Wegehe, I have always wanted my girls to go to Wesley Girls. Today you can have, and I do know, if Napa Atia Suleimana is listening to me, she sponsored a brilliant but needy girl in Nantong. The girl got admission in Wegehe. You know why? Because free SHS and the placement system took her to Wegehe.
Okay.
And you can tell that when this girl is working with any average girl of Nantong, you see the difference. Has free SHS given her morals? Has free SHS given her some kind of uplift?
Okay.
Yes.
So
has free SHS given her exposure? Yes.
Okay.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
And we have many of Azara in this country.
So you
it's just that we
simply-
haven't assembled them.
You simply disagree with that school of thoughts.
I do disagree because, but for free SHS, we still had teenage pregnancy. You understand? Even before free SHS, we had indiscipline in our schools.
Okay.
What is most important is for us to direct the conversation, get all stakeholders on deck. Let's accept responsibilities. What am I not doing right? What is PTA not doing right? What is SMC not doing right? What are the teachers themselves not doing right? What are the wards, the kids themselves not doing right? What about parenting? What about community leadership? All these things should be inclusive. All these things should be discussed. And I tell you, when you go to page 170, good, I read it, and I think talking about this, it just came to mind when Dr. Bawumia was talking about that sense of responsibility when it comes to community engagement and all that. And he is looking at the welfare of the people and all that. So what I am telling you, Vanessa, I have a problem with repeating because we weren't actually coming to talk about.
No
but what I
problem.
am telling you is that let's come back as adults. Let's come
And
back
have a
as
conversation.
parents. Let's come back as stakeholders. Let's take off the NPP, NDC lens and talk about social issues when it is time to talk
Okay.
about them.
We are wrapping up. So now that Dr. Bawumia has filed his nomination officially to contest as the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, what is next for the party?
So it's a constitutional requirement he went to fulfill today. And I hear and have read somewhere that we are expecting to have about 34 of them or so, of these candidates. Some are independent,
exactly.
some are representing political parties. And the process is supposed to start from 9th to 13th. That is today. Today, before 9 a.m., we were already ready and we're on our way to the headquarters of the EC. We got there before 9. We're well seated. Our flag bearer respects time, and he will always say, let's respect time. We got there. The EC also were almost ready. We sat and waited. They joined us later, and then they had the process on. What actually caught my eye was the fact that these forms were to be vetted by two separate teams. One was the IT one, and the other one was going to look at other credentials. This is a very good one, because if they take these forms and are to review them, certainly if there is a need for correction, certainly if there is a need for interrogation, they will get some of the people, especially the candidates that we hear. And I'm just saying this based on hearsay, that are not too credible or are a bit corrupt. They need to really, really dig into their documents and know whether they have some corruption allegations they are cleared. They looked at their tax clearance, have they been paying taxes and all that. And for we women, fees for the nomination is half the price of what the men are paying. That is good news for myself and you, at least for our girls, for other women. Kamala Harris should be the standard point for now. And one day, any of us could be something or somebody in this country or other countries that probably will be monitoring us. Yeah.
But are you following happenings in Wali Wali?
Yes, I am. The last...
So Dr. Kabiru is accusing his opponents that she's been supported by the flag bearer of the party.
Allegations.
Those are simply allegations.
I don't talk on speculations.
Okay.
If Dr. Kabiru has any evidence to discuss with me or Mama Lariba has any evidence to show, then I'm happily going to talk about it. And more so, I am a national executive who is supposed to be facilitating this process, and not every information that I can actually bring out immaturely or prematurely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hajia, in rounding up, what are your final words? Why do you think the Ghanaians should join the NPP to break the AIDS?
Because beautiful girls like you are in NPP and are not just women.
I am not in NPP.
Productive. I said beautiful girls like you, beautiful ladies like you.
Comma.
Like you. The key word is like you,
okay.
not you.
Okay.
But even if you're NPP, what's wrong? Because of your work?
I'm not.
Because of your work? Sit here and say you're not
My producer is insisting.
I'm saying like you. And the operational word here is like you.
Right.
In NPP, a brainy, beautiful woman like you is always given the opportunity to explore and to grow. That is what we are known for.
Okay.
In NPP, when you come and you want to be educated, we support you wholeheartedly. In NPP, when we are giving out the nomination forms to give, there are some places they even try to say, okay, can the men look at allowing the women to go negotiation and all the empowering women? When you come to the youth, in NPP, you have young people taking up positions that they push them to say, look, just today I was listening to Honorable Damboche, and he was talking to myself and some other young people that, look, Rabi, you guys should be stepping forward all the time. I know it's not easy, but when we exit, the party is going to be in the hands of you. We have leaders who think like this, you understand? And what kills it most, permits me to be a bit religious, the NPP doesn't know ethnic, gender, religion, and all. Initially, they said it was a Akanfo party.
I find that very...
Initially, they said it was a Akanfo
debatable.
Party. Initially, they said a Akanfo party. Even if you had your reservations, the choosing or the nomination of myself as Deputy Director of Communication at the National Party Office, the leadership of Mama Rita Sobaire as second vice chairman, the presence of Aziz Haruna Futa as Nasara coordinator, the participation of Mama Kate as a woman, the existence of Ewes, the existence of Gans, the existence of Grushis, the existence of Mampurushis, the existence of Hausa people, the existence of very young woman like myself should tell you that the party is a diversified one, and we don't discriminate.
So that is the reason Ghanaians should join the NPP in breaking the AIDS.
NPP is fantastic. It's for all, and we go with all inclusive.
Okay.
And to end that, the Bari community has actually given me some sense of responsibility by elevating me into one of the disciples of the current national Bari chief.
Okay.
Making me the development agent for that. So when it's 27th of this month, I shall be given
that'll be your coronation.
Mandate, yes,
okay.
And I'll get you invited to come and witness
Absolutely.
that. Because we need to use our support, our network and everything, sending it back to our people and building the community.
Absolutely. Hajia, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. I've been engaging the Deputy Communications Director of the New Patriotic Party, Hajia Rabi Salifu, and this has been your campaign trail here on Star Today.